Hey there, welcome to the Movie Review Mom YouTube channel. If this is the very first time you're here, yay, you found me. I'm so glad. I've been waiting for you. And if you're a returning subscriber, yay, thank you so much for coming back. I truly appreciate your support. So the movie I'm reviewing today is called Spaceman. This dramatic, unique story released in select theaters on February 22nd, 2024, but is now available on Netflix. The film is rated R. It's an hour and 47 minutes, and my overall movie review mom grade is a B. So let me explain. First, I'll give you an overview in a nutshell, and then I'll point out things I liked, things I didn't like, tips for parents, themes worth talking about, funny lines, interesting lines, and I'll wrap it up with some recommendations for some other films that are sort of similar that you might also really like if you like this one. Sound like a plan? Yay! All right, let's get started. So in a nutshell, half a year into his solo mission on the edge of the solar system, an astronaut concerned with the state of his life back on Earth is helped by an ancient creature he discovers in the bowels of his ship. The film is based on the book of the same name. Your expectations will absolutely determine how much or how little you enjoy this movie. Fair warning, this is not a typical Adam Sandler silly flick. The movie was directed by Johan Rank, and writing credits go to Colby Dave. So let me quick give you some tips for parents. There is some profanity, including F-bombs. We see a shirtless Adam Sandler. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, you decide. And then I think ultimately kids are going to be bored. People are in perilous situations, and there's a spider. So some of the themes that are illustrated really well are loneliness, ambition, sacrifice, family, absence in marriage, silence, time, miscarriage, and emotions. All right, so here's the list of things that I really liked about this movie. First of all, Adam Sandler is known for his goofy and often very crude movies, but lately he has been trying to create films so his work is taken more seriously, and we are seeing a serious level up of his acting abilities. There's nothing wrong with creating silly movies because we all need to laugh and escape from our lives sometimes. But I really admire his recent efforts to add more artistic substance to his filmography. So yay, Adam Sandler. I adore Carey Mulligan and have for years, but I also really love Lena Olin and Isabella Rossellini. In every movie I see any of them in, they are all three talented beauties, and they're in this movie. Also in the cast are Kunal Nayyar and Paul Dano. Now, Paul Dano's voice is exceptional in this. He was perfectly cast. And that's all we get to see or hear of him is his voice. But it is a powerful one and a highlight of this movie. While not in this film, Channing Tatum served as one of the producers. And that always says something when I think celebrities are willing to throw in their time and energy and money to support a film. The movie poster and film's description were both intriguing enough that I wanted to watch the movie. Now, lately, I have not watched trailers in several years, which is kind of crazy because I started off doing marketing for trailers in movie theaters. But now I just kind of dive right into the movie, and I generally don't have expectations because I don't know anything about it. And that is what is the case in this film. I had no idea what it was about, except that I knew it was involving Adam Sandler and that he starred in it. I didn't know if he wrote it or any of that other stuff. Now, there's a young actress named Anna who is in real life Adam Sandler's real life daughter. And she starred in a very popular movie that he did last year on Netflix called You Are So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah. And I loved it. And Adam Sandler's entire family was involved with that movie. And they all acted or starred in the movie. So check out my review of that one. In fact, I will load that one up as soon as this movie's over so that you can watch that. So if you're an Adam Sandler fan, you'll like it. However, if you didn't like Adam Sandler because of all of his silly, goofy, crude movies in the past, take a new look at him. And I think that you might really begin to appreciate his growth. There are some really good special effects in this movie. And one of these days, I would love to be in a zero gravity space somehow in a movie set, in real life. I don't know. It just looks really cool to kind of swim through the air like that, right? Now, as much as I don't like spiders, I would be thrilled to be called skinny human by one. And if you watch the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's a line that we hear often. In fact, okay, there's the spoiler. It's a spider, a gigantic spider, which is disgusting and gross and icky. But there's more to him than that. And then another cute little running gag throughout the film is hazelnut spread like Nutella is loved worldwide and apparently across the universe. Even spider aliens like it. So that brings me to the list of things that I didn't like. A spider. Why did it have to be a spider? And then there's a spider hug moment. And the whole time I'm like, oh. And yet I was also like, oh. But you have to see the movie to understand that part. So on to the list of other things that I didn't like or just thought could have been done differently or better, maybe. I mean, back about the spider, why couldn't it have been a hamster or a guinea pig or even a cat or something like that? But I get it. They were going for kind of shock effect and all of that. So the astronaut's name is Jakub, like Jacob in English, but supposedly he's from Czechoslovakia. Yet Adam Sandler has a pretty thick American accent. I mean, he's an American. There are some times where he really does try to sound like he's Czech, but it doesn't work that well. And I don't know why they bothered even making him Czech rather than just being an American. But it's supposed to be the first astronaut in space and a big monumental moment for the country, Czechoslovakia in particular. Anyway, I just thought that was an interesting element. We see a lot of flashbacks, but they don't always give us really important information. They kind of paint a picture where we learn little bits about Adam Sandler and his family life. But sometimes things happen and it's just like memories that don't necessarily tell us that much, but show us that Adam Sandler is missing home, thinking about his family, possibly regretting his decision to be away from them for so long. The wife seemed super self-absorbed and selfish. Now, I love Carey Mulligan, but this character, I was like, now I get it. She's pregnant and hormonal, which I have done many times myself. But still, I'm like, surely they had a conversation about should he go? And at some point, she probably supported him and said, go into space. That's awesome. You rock. And yet she's very all about, he left me, he abandoned me, which is true. But anyway, I just thought that her character was portrayed as just being very focused on herself and not showing support for him. And maybe I'm taking all of this wrong. I don't know. The movie itself is very slow moving, and some people will tire while waiting for something to happen. And then some viewers won't like the ambiguous ending. I actually did like it, and that there was some resolution. At least that's how I interpreted it. And let me know what you think. Comment down below. Now, whenever I watch movies, I write down notes, of course, but I also write down funny lines and interesting lines simply so I can share them with you. And as I reviewed my notes, I did not write down any funny lines. This is a serious drama. However, there are some humorous moments with this alien spider creature. But like I said, I didn't write down any lines for that, but I did write down interesting lines, and you can see all of them on my written review at moviereviewmom.com. Now, my website is experiencing some serious errors. I don't know what's going on. I've been on the phone with the tech people trying to figure out what's going on, but you can still find my review there. Now, some interesting lines, let me share, are, first of all, Hannes is the name of this creature that Paul Dano voices. And he's trying to explain who he is, but he doesn't really give as many details as I personally would have liked. But he says at one point, I will neither consume nor contaminate you. Now, first you have to decide, is this creature even telling me the truth? And he's really big and scary. And then when Adam Sandler's character tries to reach out and touch him at one point, he says the body must not be violated. And when Adam Sandler hears that, he starts to develop trust, like, okay, this guy has some moral codes and touching's not allowed, and that kind of thing. Hannes, this creature, again, is fascinated with humans and explains that he felt compelled to learn more about Adam Sandler's character. And he says, your loneliness intrigued me. He says later, you compelled me. And then another moment, Hannah says to Adam Sandler's character, the astronaut, perhaps my presence can lessen your solitude. And I thought that was an interesting line. And then finally, when speaking to the point of how I didn't really like the character of the wife because she was so self-centered, and another character whose name is Commissioner Tuma, played by Isabella Rossellini, she says, she's had too much time to think. And I absolutely could relate to that line. When I'm all alone and things are not going well, I can start to spiral, and it doesn't always go very well. And so I thought, okay, that gives me some insight on the power of solitude, which they were both experiencing at the same time. I thought that was really fascinating. Hannah says several times the universe is as it should be, and he doesn't fight what is, that often many times we do. Another interesting line is, as Hannes is observing this human and learns that Adam Sandler has a wife on Earth, he says, why commit to a promise if it can be readily broken? What purpose does such a commitment serve? And he explains that they don't really have marriage, in his world with his type of creatures. And he's so fascinated with that. He says, with great conviction, you do not even try to understand your mate. To what end? And it gets Adam Sandler thinking how much he has been self-absorbed about his career and hasn't really gotten to know his own wife. And I thought there's a great lesson for married people that, we all are absorbed with our own lives, but to really try to understand the other person's perspective. And that will help resolve a lot of arguments, I think. I'll share two more lines, although there are many more. Hannes explains to Adam Sandler's character, your loneliness is self-inflicted. In other words, you didn't try to reach out to your wife and really connect. And then finally, at one point, Jakob says to his wife, and we don't know, is it in person? Did he come back? Is he thinking? Is there a telepathic communication type of thing going on? He says to her, you were right there in front of me, and I didn't even see you. And I think that's true with a lot of married couples, but even just with humanity, we see people, we're constantly surrounded by people, but do we really see them and understand what they're going through? So I loved the layers of this film and the many themes that are illustrated very well. Now, as I watched this movie, I instantly thought of two films that I want to recommend to you. The first one is Interstellar. Yes, they go out into outer space and they have adventures, but there are layers to that movie. Fantastic cast and a lot of themes that are going on in that one. I really love that movie. And it's one that you have to watch a couple of times to understand at least the physics aspect of it. And another movie I really enjoyed is Gravity with Sandra Bullock. It's very simple and yet really powerful. And I think that you'll enjoy that. In case you missed those or those flew under your radar, definitely check those out, especially if you're into space movies, but more serious, layered space movies. And actually, I just thought of one more I should recommend, and that is the movie Passengers. Again, fantastic two-person cast with a couple of people showing up there at the end, but also has some layers and a really interesting look at personal relationships while floating around in space. I love that one. I've seen that several times as well. All right, that's it. I hope that you enjoy my review. My goal is to save you time and money, to point you in the direction of really good films or ones that I think that you might enjoy. If they're helpful, give it a thumbs up or like or comment down below. That helps my channel to grow. Have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.